picture spans the top half of the sign showing 3 buck deer with large antlers grazing near a clear, slow-moving river surrounded by yellow-leaved cottonwood trees and dormant grasses and shrubs. A title in the top left corner reads,
A Living Canyon.
In the lower right corner of the picture, a paragraph reads,
Stop for a moment. What do you see, hear, and smell? Where water is abundant, plants and animals thrive. The Virgin River and the vegetation in the riparian zone along it provide habitat for many species. Away from the river, the temperature increases and the humidity drops, but life is tenacious and adapts. As you stroll the Purus Trail, consider life with or without water.
The bottom left corner of the sign shows a prickly pear cactus.
Scientific name, Opuntia phaeacantha.
With dark green spiked flat pads and 3 bright yellow blooms.
The sharp spines of a cactus are believed to have evolved from leaves and serve a dual purpose, protecting the cactus from hungry critters and limiting water loss with reduced surface area.
Next to the cactus is a light green, rounded Fremont cottonwood leaf.
Scientific name, Populus fremontii.
The caption reads,
On a hot summer day, the cottonwood's branches create shade and cooler temperatures. These native trees thrive where there is water and are found lining the river. They offer shelter and food to many animals and help stabilize riverbanks.
At the center of the page, a 2-inch long spined dace fish with shiny scales is shown.
Scientific name, Lepidomata mellispinans.
The caption reads,
This medium-sized silvery minnow was once found throughout the Virgin River. Due to habitat fragmentation, introduction of non-native species, and water demands, it is now only found in protected areas like Zion National Park. One of 4 native fish in the park, it is well adapted to the changing river temperatures and flood-prone and sediment-laden rivers of Zion.
The bottom right corner of the sign has a 4-inch long mottled brown lizard with a blue belly standing up on its hind legs. Its long toes grip a reddish sandstone rock, and its long, narrow tail hangs down. Its front feet are against a taller sandstone rock. It is identified as a plateau lizard.
Scientific name, Scaloporus tristicus.
The caption reads,
Reptiles are ectotherms, or cold-blooded, and need to soak up the sun to warm their bodies so they can scurry away from predators and after prey. Much of their hydration is obtained from the insects and spiders they consume, which allows them to live away from water sources.
An historic black and white photo takes up 2/3 of the right side of the sign. In the picture, the cliffs of Zion tower above 3 small rustic wooden structures and a wagon. A larger, light-colored building can be seen in the background. Cursive handwriting at the bottom of the image identifies it as the Crawford Homestead looking south. A title at the top right of the image reads,
Footprints in Time.
Underneath the image, text says,
Humans have survived and adapted in the Zion area for over 15,000 years. The waters of the Virgin River have provided sustenance for different cultures through time under the towering red rock cliffs. Though people have changed, the landscape and the nourishing water remain constant.
The left third of the sign has a vertical timeline. At the top is a picture of 2 rough-edged white stone arrowheads lying on red sand. The image is labeled,
Archaic people, 13,000 years before Common Era to 0 Common Era. The archaic people were hunter-gatherers who left behind spear points, knives, and other stone tools.
Next in the timeline is a picture of an 8-foot square sandstone structure without a roof, nestled in an alcove on a cliff. It is labeled
Ancestral Puebloan and Fremont people, 1 Common Era to 1150 Common Era. These people were cultivators who built permanent communities with homes and granaries.
At the center of the timeline is a black and white picture of a large gathering of Southern Paiute adults and children kneeling and standing around an open patch of ground. One person is gesturing as if telling a story to the group. The timeline reads,
Southern Paiute, 1150 Common Era to present. The Southern Paiute people were farmers, hunters, and gatherers who shared traditions through dances and storytelling. Today, they combine old ways with new and maintain connections to their native homeland.
The fourth picture in the timeline is a black and white picture of two horse-drawn wagons with large wooden spoked wheels carrying corn stalks. Men, women, and children are gathered around and on the wagons. The caption reads,
Euro-American settlers, 1860 to 1909. Mormon pioneers came west in search of sanctuary and built settlements near water. Remnants of irrigation ditches are still visible.
At the bottom of the timeline, a brightly colorized historic photo shows a dirt road with large sandstone masonry monuments on either side. The monument on the left side of the road is about 5 feet high, while the monument on the right is twice as large, with a Zion National Park sign hanging from a horizontal log pole near the top. In the background, towering red and white sandstone cliffs are set against a blue sky with fluffy white clouds. It is identified as the south entrance to Zion and represents the timeline from 1909 to the present.
The area is designated as Makuntuweap National Monument in 1909 and then Zion National Park in 1919. Each visitor writes their own story of Zion.
At the top center of the sign, a title reads,
Creation from Destruction.
A photograph covers the sign. The red cliffs of Zion tower over the green foliage of the canyon below. A bright blue sky filled with fluffy clouds is above. In the foreground is the Virgin River with still blue water. A tall cottonwood tree stands about 15 feet from the river's edge up a slight slope. In this picture, the river is running at 128 cubic feet per second. A smaller picture to the left shows the same view, but the sky is dark with storm clouds looming behind the cliffs. A muddy and turbulent Virgin River flows right up to the base of the same cottonwood tree, showing how wide the river's path becomes when the river flows at 3,970 cubic feet per second. Text on the sign's right side reads,
What made a young canyon in old rock? Sediment carried in the water gives rivers power to carve down and through soft rocks. The canyon you see today was carved by the Virgin River and its tributaries in the past 2 million years, exposing rock layers nearly 200 million years old.
At the bottom of the sign, the text reads,
The Virgin River's power becomes apparent when it floods. During times of low flow, the small river may flow at 25 cubic feet per second or less. In flood season, the river may rise to 4,000 cubic feet per second or more. The force of the water rips trees from riverbanks, moves tons of sediment, and sends huge boulders tumbling downstream, creating a vast and dangerous path of destruction. But in destruction, there is creation. New habitat is formed, soils are redistributed, and old materials are washed away. Can you see evidence of flooding? Look for plant debris suspended high above the river's current level, logs on gravel bars, or fresh deposits of mud and sand as you continue along the trail.
You are standing in front of red sandstone cliffs. An image of the same cliffs fills the entire sign. At the top right, the sign is titled
Changing Landscapes.
Under the title, text reads,
Where you are standing was once a tidal flat at the edge of an ocean, a massive arid desert, and a river system where dinosaurs roamed. A lot has changed in 200 million years, and the sedimentary rock layers tell this story. The presence and absence of water has shaped Zion Canyon through geologic time.
An illustration on the left shows 5 rock layers with dashed blue lines connecting to the background image to show where each layer can be found on the cliffs around you. The youngest top layer is shown in yellow and labeled
Temple Cap Formation.
The rock in this layer was deposited 175 to 170 million years ago and is at the top of the highest peaks in Zion Canyon. Next down on the graphic,
Navajo Sandstone.
represented by cream, pink, and brown sections within the layer. This was deposited 185 to 180 million years ago. An inset picture shows large hills of tan sand with the caption,
Desert sand dunes formed the Navajo Sandstone layer.
"This layer forms the sheer, multicolored cliffs seen in the background image." Below the Navajo Sandstone layer,
Is the Kayenta Formation.
this layer was deposited 195 to 185 million years ago when dinosaurs lived here. Footprints of prehistoric creatures are illustrated within this brown layer on the graphic. The blue dashed line links this formation to the section of junipers below the vertical Navajo Sandstone cliffs.
Springdale Sandstone
Is a subpart of the Kayenta Formation and makes up the smaller cliffs below the vegetated slopes of the Kayenta Formation. The Moenavi Formation is the 4th section from the top and is represented by a rust-colored layer. It was deposited 210 to 195 million years ago and has dinosaur footprints and a fish skeleton in the graphic to represent the prehistoric animals that lived here. A picture to the left side of the graphic spanning the Kayenta and Moenave layers shows a river system and floodplain. The picture is inset with an image of a person's hand next to a 3-toed gray fossilized footprint that is twice as large as the hand. The caption below says this type of landscape provided habitat for dinosaurs in the Kayenta and Moenave layers. Additional portions of the graphic are faded out to show that some layers in Zion are not visible in the cliffs around you. Older layers below the Moenave layer are not yet exposed in the main part of Zion Canyon, and younger layers above the Temple Cap Formation have already eroded completely from the main canyon.
A quote by Heraclitus sits in the corner of the sign and reads, Change is the only constant in time.
A photograph taken within a narrow canyon spans the sign. The canyon's smooth sandstone walls extend up and out of the picture. A peaceful virgin river covers the canyon floor. A title in the top left corner reads,
The Master Sculptor.
Underneath the title, text says,
While the Virgin River carved the depth of the canyon, the work of rain and ice helped sculpt the wide canyon surrounding you now. Erosion and weather are natural geologic processes that shape the surface of the earth. Can you see evidence of their power in the landscape around you?
At the bottom of the sign, a quote from Henry David Thoreau reads,
The finest workers of stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water, working at their leisure with a liberal allowance of time.
4 graphics on the sign's right side depict the 4 stages of how canyons are created by layers of sediment slowly being carved down by the river and widened by freeze-thaw cycles and gravity. The top graphic shows red, cream, and pink layers of sediment with remnants of dinosaur bones and seashells representing the layers found in Zion Canyon. It is captioned,
Sediment layers are deposited over millions of years.
The second graphic shows the same layers, but with an inverted triangular section in the middle removed. A blue line across the bottom of the new canyon represents the Virgin River, which is implied to have eroded away the layers of sediment. The canyon walls are rugged, showing how various layers erode differently. A caption reads,
The Virgin River and its tributaries carve the depth of the canyon. Mudstone and siltstone erode more readily than sandstone.
The third graphic shows the eroded layers like the second graphic above, but with snow and rain droplets falling into small cracks in the top layer and freezing. The caption reads,
Zion only receives about 16 inches of rain annually, but that is enough to seep into cracks in rock layers. Winter freeze and thaw cycles cause the cracks to expand.
The bottom graphic shows the effects of this ice wedging. The jagged outcroppings shown in the previous graphics have now fallen into the canyon below, and the canyon walls are smoother. It is captioned,
Gravity causes the undercut rocks to fall from the steep cliffs. Additional sediment is washed away.